Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this break the blank page kind of theme. So we're going to rework the material prompt that I used for Art Journal Prompts week 9. First of all though, I want to say that although the prompt is material, it doesn't have to be material in the fabric sense. Gareth posted a fantastic page, and his inspiration was the song Material World by Madonna, and that's absolutely perfect. And of course he didn't use any fabric, I don't think he did anyway in his page. Also I googled inspirational quotes material just to see what would come up, and a great quote came up, and it was, "One day you will realize that material things mean nothing. All that matters is the well-being of the people in your life." So that could be your inspiration for this quote, but I'm going to stick with material because that's what I did for the first page that I created. And what I'm going to be using today, in fact I've got a couple of different ideas, but I've got this piece of rag. This was just in a bag of scraps, and it's a bag that we take camping with us just to, you know, pull out a rag and wipe down the tent, you know, all the grass and everything that we sort of bring through. And so I've just grabbed one of these. It's all crumpled up, and all I've done is cut a few squares out of this piece of fabric. There we go. And then I've cut around it to create some circles, and so I've got 6 circles. So my square has got gradually smaller as I've gone on, and I've cut this by hand. So I've just gone round with my scissors like this. Doesn't have to be accurate. Okay, I'm working on my usual size paper. I'm just using regular cardstock this week. I'm not using mixed media paper. I'm using regular cardstock because I think that's what many of you will have at home. So we'll just see how that works. And I've chosen 3 colours: cerulean hue, turquoise green, and white. And what I want you to do is pick 2 colours next to each other on the colour wheel. So I've chosen blue and sort of like a green. You could choose pink and red, pink and purple, purple and blue. You could choose red and orange, orange and yellow, but I want 2 colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel, because this way we know that the colours are going to work in harmony with each other, and we're not going to end up with a muddy mess. But you know, choose the colours I've used here or some of your choice. It's entirely up to you. You can download a colour wheel on the internet, so if you just Google the colour wheel, you'll get a copy of this if you're not already familiar with it. I've got a baby wipe. I've wrung it out so it's not too damp, and I am just going to put some of my colour down on my page, and I'm just going to blend these colours together and smush it all around. I'm going to add some of the white as well. We're not looking for perfection here, we're looking for a real blend to add interest. I'm not pressing really hard because I'm just working on cardstock. I don't want to press too hard because I'll end up pilling my pages, and I'll make a hole in my page. So just be careful with what you're doing here. There we go, and then we can add a bit more blue if we want to, just so that we've got a real blend, a real mix. We can dab some on like this, sponge it on, just use up whatever paint we've got here. Okay, so I've dried my page and this is how it's looking, and already that just looks really pretty just because of the colours that we've used. Now I've got a piece of bubble wrap here, and again I've put 3 blobs of each of the colours out. Can you see it? Just on my palette, just here in the top left hand corner. And what I am going to do is I'm going to start off with a darker colour, and I'm just going to brush some of the paint onto my bubble wrap, and I'm just going to print and just make some marks all over my page. Now I'm focusing on the areas here where I've got the green, so I'm not going to put it where I've got the blue. I'm putting it where I've got the green. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp that off on my drop paper. You probably can't see what I'm doing here, but I've got a piece of drop paper underneath that catches all of my leftover paint. And then I'm going to come in again, just brush my, get all the paint off my paintbrush, and then I'm going to come in with the green, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Whoops-a-daisy, my paintbrush has just fallen apart. Hang on, let's just put some more on. So there we go, and this time I'm going to add this in the areas where I've got the blue, which is mainly in this top left hand corner here, and we can whoops-a-daisy, we can overlap sort of on the blue that we've already got. That's absolutely fine. And then I'm going to stamp the bubble wrap off again, get rid of the excess paint on my paintbrush, and then this time I'm going to come in with the white. And of course it won't be pure white because I'm not cleaning my brush off in between, but that's fine, it doesn't matter. And we're going to do exactly the same thing again, and we're just going to sort of add some pattern in the background, and add as much or as little as you like. It does not matter, just go with the flow, just do what you want. Because we're using the same colours that we've already used, we are not going to make a mess of this. We're not going to end up with anything too busy, because we're just going over with the colours that we've already got, and that's why we've chosen the 3 colours that we have. And I'm just dipping here into the paint that's left on my page, just adding a bit more interest sort of as and where I want to, and I'm going to call that done. Okay, so this is how we're looking, and now I've put 3 more blobs of the same colours again, and I've grabbed some various tools from around the home. A couple of bottle lids. This is off the top of a glue stick. I can't remember what this one is off. Some old bottle of cosmetics around the home. Then I've got one of those slidey rubber grip things from a pencil, and an AA battery, and I'm just going to add various marks all over my page. Let's start off with the battery. You know, they don't have to be perfectly round, have some going off the page, but just, you know, various marks all over your page. And again, all we're doing here is just adding interest and pattern. There we go. Squish that off. Then I'm going to come in with the blue again, and I'm dipping my lid in. I'm going to add various marks all over my page. There we go, that will do fine. Let's have another one over there. Then I'm going to come in with a smaller lid, and this time I'm going to use the aqua, and we can put some on their own. Some of them will show up better than others, but you know, that's absolutely fine. And I'm spreading my paint on quite thickly because I just want the texture. There we go, and then we'll have one here as well, and that will do fine. And then I'm going to come in with my smaller lid, and this time I'm going to use some of the white, and I'm overlapping some, and I'm doing some in their own spaces. Just a real mix. Whatever. Don't think about it, just put it on the page, and just don't think about what you're doing. I think sometimes we overthink things, and then it stops us from doing anything at all. I'm going to have one coming off the page, we can have another coming off the page down here, and I think that's pretty much it. I quite like how that's looking, so I'm going to go off and give this a dry, and then I'll come back again. I just absolutely love the way that this page looks already. It's just gorgeous, and yeah, please give this a try, because you can't go wrong with this, and especially if you pick these colours, then you know you'll end up with a lovely version of this. Now I'm coming in with some black paint. I'm using Dilutions, but you know, use any paint that you've got. And I've got a piece of corrugated cardboard here. It's just from a piece of packaging off a cardboard box, and I've put a light coating of black paint, and I'm just going to stamp like this on my page, and I'm going to add 5. I find that if you stamp things in odd numbers, then that works really well. I don't know, even numbers don't work the same for some reason. I don't know why. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction and just go over the top again. And that's it, that's enough for me. I don't want to do any more than that. Okay, so let's add some flowers to this lovely background. Now I've grabbed my colour wheel again, and the next colours round to the greens and the blues on the colour wheel are sort of blues, purples and pinks. And so I've chosen 3 shades here, 3 colours, a pink, a purple and a blue, which I think will contrast really well with the background that I've created. And I've chosen a few of my fabric stacks, so I'm going to move my background out of the way. I've gone off and cleaned my paint brushes as well. Let me just grab another tissue, so just to sort of mop up some of that paint. And I'm going to start off with the pink. I've put a clean piece of parchment paper down as well, just so that I don't sort of end up contaminating anything and ending up with mud. And we're just going to paint the fabric here. And I'm just going to paint it first off in a solid colour, and then we can come back and we can add some interest afterwards. And I'm going to do the back as well, just in case any of the underside shows that we're sort of, you know, haven't got a big blob of white. It doesn't have to be perfect on the back. There we go. Then I'm going to grab my next one, and this time I'm going to come in with the purple. I haven't cleaned my brush in between. Because the colours are next to each other, I know that I'm not going to end up with mud, so I quite like the idea of having the contrast with the pink in there. That's fine. And then I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to add some colour to the back side. It doesn't have to be full coverage underneath, just so that it's not white. Then I'm going to grab the next size, and this time I'm going to come in with the blue. My blue is a metallic colour, but it doesn't matter if it's a flat matte. Use what you have. And I like that I've got some of the pink and the purple in here too. That's fine. You can use spray inks to do this if you've got any as well. Just use whatever materials you have. You see, those just look lovely together. And then I think I'm going to do a mixture of the blue and the purple together, like this. I like that. There we are. And then I'm going to do the purple and the pink together. Never ending up with mud here, because of course the colours are next to each other on the colour wheel. And then I can do a mixture of all 3 if I want to here. And then I'm going to go away and give these a quick dry. Right, so my petals are all dry now. And I'm going to use up this leftover paint here, and I've put a bit of white as well. And I'm going to use the piece of cardboard that I used earlier. I've given it a quick dry to make sure that this black is dry. And I just want to add some interest. Let's just add some of that white in there too. Introduce some of that like this. And I'm just going to stamp all over my petals like this, just to add some interest to them. And of course I'm using the repeat pattern because I've got this in the background as well. Twist it round so that you get that grid effect. Let's add some of the white, and I just love this. How pretty does that look? Twist it round as well, just so that you get that grid. Let's move that out of the way. Bring some more of that white in. I'll do the same on this one here. Twist it round. There we are. and then I'm going to go off and give this a dry again. There we go. Whoops a daisy, just love that. Right, I should be back in a minute. My petals are now dry, and I've put some more white paint out, which I've just spread with a palette knife, and I'm going to edge my flowers in the same way that I did with the first page that I created for this material prompt. And this just adds a really nice outline to the petals. You can use gesso for this if you want to, but seeing as I've got the white paint out, and I know that's what most of you will have, that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to do this to all of my petals, and then I'm going to dry them with my heat tool. Right, let's start assembling our page. Now I've managed to get some lime green on mine. I was practicing with some leaves and then changed my mind and dropped my page into the paint, but it's fine, it's fine. Right, first of all, what I want to do is create a border for my page before we start assembling our flower. And I've put some white paint on my parchment paper here, and I'm going to put a really thick layer all the way round, and then I'm going to dry this with my heat tool, and then this will bubble and blister and create a really nice textured border. Now I'm getting ready to assemble my page, and I feel as if I just want to introduce some of the pink to my background. I've got a purple butterfly that I'm going to use, so that ties in the purple, but I just want a little bit of the pink, and so I'm going to put some pink on my page. I'm going to spray it with some water just to thin it down, and then I'm just going to do a bit of splattering. Hang on, let's just grab my paintbrush. So I've really watered that down, and then I'm just going to splatter. Now I love the way that looks, and I've decided I'm going to do exactly the same with some white. So I've cleaned my brush, just put some white paint down, added some water, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the white. Now I've stacked my petals on top of each other, starting with the largest and then just working my way down and just positioning them until I'm happy with the way that they look. I've got a brad for the centre, just in turquoise, which again ties in with the background. And then I'm going to use this for my stem, and the way that I've created my stem and my petals, I'm going for the black and white petals as well, because I just think that ties in with the black in the background, and it's just a bit of whimsy, isn't it? And the way that I've created that, I grabbed a piece of cardstock. It was cut off the end of this piece of cardstock here with my quotes on, which I'll show you in a minute, and I've grabbed the broad end of my alcohol marker, and I've just drawn lines like this, and then I've cut a strip off the end, and that's for my stem. And then I had a leaf shape just from a piece of paper, and I've cut two of those for my petals, and that's it. So I need to position those and glue them down, but first of all I just want to position my quote. Now I've had a look on the internet, and because this sort of whole idea of this video is to try and sort of, you know, prompt us all to get going, I've found 3 quotes which I think are really appropriate, and I've just printed them off on recycled cardstock. The first one is: the first step to getting anywhere is deciding you're not willing to stay where you are. Second one: you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And then the third one: the expert in anything was once a beginner. And I don't know which quote I'm going to use. I think it's going to be: you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. So I'm going to cut this out. Let me just grab some scissors. I'm going to do this by hand. And then I'm going to use my alcohol marker just to go around the edge of my quote like this. Now this is how I want to lay my page out. I just like the position of that there. There's my quote: you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I've got my butterfly here as well, which will go somewhere like that. But what I want to do is grab my pokey tool, because I am going to go straight through the middle of this flower. Watch your fingers if you're using a pokey tool, because they are incredibly sharp. There we go. And then I'm just going to fiddle around with this and put my brad through, and I'm going to go straight through the paper as well, so that I don't have to glue this down. Just get that in there like that, and then I just want to decide where I want my flower, which I think is somewhere like that. So let me just put a hole there. There we go. And then I can open this up at the back. There we go. And then I can grab some glue. Where's my glue sticks disappeared to? Here we go. Now I've inked around the edge of the flowers and my stem with my alcohol marker, just to get rid of the white lines. There we go, something like that. And then what have I done with my quote? Here we go. We'll glue this down as well. So here we are. Here's my finished page. I've changed my mind on the butterfly and remembered that I'd got this lace butterfly. I think this was from Jer in my recent challenge. So I've added that, touched up my border, and that is my finished page. But to give you a couple more ideas, some of you will have seen the recent video I did showing you how to make Tyvek flowers. I know that you ladies in the States can get hold of Tyvek envelopes quite easily. So Tyvek is fabric. Or how about lace? I made this really quick and easy flower out of some lace. I punched a circle out of some cardstock. You could easily cut one by hand. Added a little bit of glue with my glue gun to start my lace off, and then I just wrapped it concertina style all the way around the circle until I got to the end, and then I just added a couple of buttons in the centre. So for those of you that just feel that you just don't know where to start, I really hope that some of you will follow along with me here and give this a try. Once you've done it once, it will just feel so much easier, and also that when you've done a page, it inspires you, it gives you ideas. You start to think, oh well, you know, what if I'd done this? Like I've done my flower out of material here, and then I started thinking of other ways that I could do it with Tyvek or with lace. And it does, once you do it once, you start thinking of other ideas. It just gets the creative juices flowing. So I will leave a link to the Art Journal Prompts Facebook group in the description box below, so that if there's anybody watching this video that it feels the same, that, you know, would like to start art journaling but just has watched video after video and just feels that they just don't know where to start, if you'd like to come and give this a try and share your artwork, then come and take a look, come and say hi. But please feel free to share this video. If you know someone that this would be helpful to, then, you know, by all means share. And if you know this was helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and any questions or comments, just please leave them in the comment section below. So take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.